Hi, and welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. And welcome from sunny Darwin, where I'm holidaying at the moment. And I just wanted to drop in and share this Thriver TV episode with you because it's an important one. Because one of the most disturbing things I believe about narcissistic abuse is that it often comes after you, even as you sleep. Just when you think you're going to get some relief away from the aching torment of your waking life by being asleep, the trauma insidiously finds its way into your dreams. And these dreams are generally heart-wrenching, traumatic, and they're horribly confusing. They're also filled with big emotional content, charges, and trauma. So what do these nightmares mean? In this episode, I want to share with you what they mean, as well as how to heal yourself to a level where you simply will not experience these awful narcissistic nightmares anymore. And this is important because for many of us, the nightmares from narcissistic abuse were or are horrible. And my heart goes out to you if you're suffering this, because it really can feel like that movie series from the 80s, Nightmare on Elm Street, and if you fall asleep, Freddy Krueger is going to get you. I remember that so vividly, those movies, and it is like that. It is that bad. And the nightmares for some people, myself included, were so bad that we tried not to go to sleep because it seemed like this was when the narcissist could psychic attack and infiltrate us the most. So for those of you who are going through this, it really is beyond horrible, having the sanctity of your sleep disturbed with the possibility of traumatizing narcissistic nightmares. And it is so tough that we wonder if our psyche is ever going to be truly free from it. However, I want you to understand the quantum truth of life, that life is happening for us and not to us. There is a purpose to these nightmares that is working in our favour and efforting to release us to our next highest and grandest version of who we are. This is what I believe about nightmares profoundly, that it's the processing of the stuff that we may not be facing and processing to a healing conclusion in our waking life. And this is the tricky thing in standard narcissistic abuse recovery, because we are told that in going no contact with a narcissist, that we detach from them and everything about them, including our thoughts and feelings about them. And we try to get on with it and leave them behind in our dust as we attempt to fill our life with positive things. And absolutely, this is totally better for us than staying stuck in the toxic enmeshment of obsessing and trying to force accountability and the repeat compounding of the other soul-destroying things we do to ourselves when we're still hooked and attached to narcissists. Yet just getting on with it and trying to detach from our inner trauma is not what Thriver Recovery is all about, because that model for intense trauma seldom works. Generally, all it means is that even if you physically leave the narcissist, your associated original trauma, which was the wounds that the narcissist was able to hook you and hurt you with, are still living on inside you. They're still generating narcissistic abuse symptoms, and they're often still generating nightmares while you sleep. Now, this is the part about how the nightmares are working for us. We may not have realized until we wake up out of the human trance that we've all been submerged in, that there is a gift and an evolution from narcissistic abuse. And the reality is we don't need to heal. We don't get to heal until we do the inner work and take that gift. And because our soul is so insistent that this is the grand plan to evolve and heal those parts of ourselves that were holding us back from being our true self, the as yet unhealed trauma is going to keep screaming out to us to get our attention until we do. And maybe we're still able to get on with our life without realizing that we're self-avoiding and self-abandoning our inner trauma. Or maybe we can't just get on with life anymore because the trauma inside us is so intense. But one thing is for sure is that the anxiety, the depression, the triggers and the nightmares are all continuing for the purpose of getting us to turn inwards, to come home to ourselves. They are there to get our attention. Before I knew how to truly self-partner and use the quantum tool, Quantum Freedom Healing, to heal my traumas, and because I was a really good, diligent self-development student, I used to try to work with it cognitively. I tried to meet myself by keeping a journal on my nightmares. However, I didn't realize that I wasn't actually meeting and shifting the trauma and transforming it into something else. Rather, it was simply regurgitating inside me. I love that expression, we have to work it out, because it literally means up and out, to release ourselves from it and to rid ourselves of it. And we can't work it out logically in our mind because the trauma doesn't live there, it lives in our body. And we can only work it out, release it out at that location. Back in those days of my analytical attempts to heal, I recognized patterns in my nightmares. And one of these was the narcissist coming after me, and I'd be running through a neighborhood with houses burning and blowing up. And I'd run into a house to hide and get away from him, and then the walls would start collapsing in on me. And back then I tried to use affirmations to heal my trauma, but my trauma was not having any part of that. Because the deep primal survival programs that were responsible for 95% of my life were screaming within me, life will annihilate me, he will destroy me, I'm not safe anywhere or with anyone, it's not possible to be myself and survive and be safe. And my teeny 5% capacity of mind logic was trying to change deep, cemented, inner identity, traumatic subconscious programs. And it was like trying to put a tiny scoop of ice cream on a massive pile of poop. There's a visual for you. And of course it was wrong town. It was totally ineffectual no matter how hard I tried. And the nightmares continued. So did my trauma symptoms. And eventually, when I fully stepped onto the quantum healing path and had Quantum Freedom Healing as my go-to tool for releasing trauma and healing my subconscious programs, I went straight to these traumas and I loaded them up and released them and replaced them one by one by one until I just didn't have these traumas anymore. In fact, my beliefs became true self ones, the exact opposites of these previous ones. And I was released into life in a bigger and better way than I ever had been, even before abuse. I was free, and never again did I have any dreams that were those ones of being in a hell zone. There was another reoccurring nightmare that I know so many people have suffered in this community, just as they have the unsafe in life ones that I just shared with you, or versions like that. It is this, the dream of being, it's a nightmare, it's a total nightmare of being replaced. Somebody else being in the narcissist's life, having the dream life with them, having the love, the house, the lifestyle, even being with the pets and the kids you shared together, that sort of thing. And I remember the utter heartbreak and devastation I felt when I had those nightmares, as I know many of you have or are experiencing too. And the truth is this. When we are with a narcissist, we assign this person as a false source to grant us ourselves, to be our source of love, approval, security, and or survival. And the thought of somebody else taking our source away and getting the goodies feels like literal emotional annihilation to us. I used to have this dream often. That was until I went inside my body and found and released and healed the young, underdeveloped parts of myself that were full of trauma and did not believe they could be whole and survive on their own. Then, again, these dreams stopped. The message had been delivered. I worked with it, and then I was released to the next higher version of myself that was no longer carrying these wounds. So I want to now do a little exercise with you to help you start self-partnering to get your gift, evolve and be free of your nightmares. And non-NARPers and NARPers alike, you can partake in this. So all you need to do to self-partner is think of your last nightmare and close your eyes, and just the intention is enough. You don't even need to go into the logical details of the nightmare. Your body will listen to your directions. And you can say to yourself, somewhere in my body is a trauma that is relating to this nightmare I had, and now somewhere in my body is going to light up and show me where this is. And all you need to do is trust this. You're going to feel a dense energy or a painful charge somewhere, even if it's very subtle. And for those of you who aren't a NARP member yet, you can do this little exercise with any dream that you've had from a narcissist. And what you can do is, after you wake up and you know that you've had a nightmare, make it your firm commitment, make it a firm commitment that you're going to turn toward instead of turn away from your traumatized inner being. And you're going to go directly within to love, heal and help. And this starts with you saying, I bless and accept this feeling, rather than disliking it or disowning it, which means that it's just got to get louder and more ferocious to get your attention. So when we turn toward, we're now in a position to heal something that we haven't been able to previously heal within us. And we can understand the quantum truth that everything is in repeat, meaning that trauma cannot come into our existence unless there's a matching trauma within, because the quantum law is so within, so without, and we're born with a lot of these traumas. We get them epigenetically from the traumatic human experience that our forebears suffered. So the ultimate reality truth right now is, because of this nightmare, there is an opportunity to find something, self-partner with it and heal it and release myself from it. Okay, so after you wake up and you feel the trauma, you open up your body, relax and breathe, and ask yourself, where do I feel this trauma in my body? So is it in my heart? Is it in my throat? Is it in the pit of my stomach? Is it on the top of my shoulders? Is it so big that I feel it everywhere? Just really trust, even if it's subtle. And don't be scared of it. And then I want you to imagine being with it and breathing into it and really accepting that part of yourself rather than turning away. Now imagine opening up at the top of your crown, and imagine that you're going to release that trauma out of yourself and you're going to open up space. And then what you are doing is tapping into a pipeline to a big ball of source energy, which is light and the source healing and resolution of this, which is your superconscious, which is creation, the universe, source, God, whatever you want to call that higher power, which has the ability to heal what we limited humans can't heal by ourselves. And you imagine bringing that in and filling this space with pure light and love, replacing this space with that from the previous trauma. And then take note. If you feel relief, take note. If all of a sudden you have awareness and wisdom enter you, effectively filling the space where the trauma previously was. And that's exactly what happens, because we think we've had to work it out. Logically, no, we don't. We work it out energetically. And then when we bring in source, we automatically, organically evolve and become who we truly are. This stuff that I teach you and I share with you, I didn't read it or learn it anywhere. I simply released trauma, brought in source, and organically woke up and remembered who I already am. That's what we can all do. That's where our wisdom truly is. It's not taught or learned. It already is without a trauma. So what I just shared with you is a very simplified version of the entire Quantum Freedom healing process, which NARP members use. And what I just shared with you has some of the advanced protocols and energy signatures missing and DNA load-ups. However, in many cases, even this simple exercise can help grant you healing, up-leveling, evolution, and relief. Now, if these are deep epigenetic past life, complicated survival program traumas, you may need the bigger artillery on them. You might need Quantum Freedom healing to deal with it. So for those of you who are on the NARP program, what you can do with this is take it to module 1, the shortened version, and clear everything that you're tapping into, that you're feeling in your body, or use the goal setting module and set up the source healing and resolution of this, which simply means that you're going to be replacing that previous trauma with source. Exactly. Source knows how to heal this better than we could ever dream it up ourselves, better than even any goal we could set as our intention. The source healing and resolution is it. That's really our biggest surrender into our truest self. So if you set that up as the goal and you keep clearing all of your trauma till you reach 10 out of 10, I promise you're not going to have any nightmares anymore. You just, because the message has been delivered, the up level has happened, it no longer needs to be in your life to get your attention anymore. And not only are you released and relieved of those, you're also going to go up massive levels in so many areas of your life where those previous traumas were holding you back from being your truest and best self. So it is such a gift. So when people ask me all the time, what do I do with the nightmares that I'm having? I'm having constant nightmares. What do I do? The real life simple answer is the same as all of our traumas. We go to them directly in our body. We load them up. We release them. We bring in source. We midwife from our breakdowns, our survival programs, into our breakthroughs, into pure creation and space in ourselves and who we really are. That's the answer for all of it. So I hope that that's really helped, and please come over to the blog and join in the conversation at blog.melanietoniaevans.com. And until the next little video and Thriver TV episode from Darwin, because I'm going to be here for nearly another couple of weeks. Until then, you know what to do. Keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there is nothing else to do. That's it from me. Lots of love. Bye-bye.